Hello everyone, I'm Ernie and I am so glad you're here with us today. Today we want to talk about the legend of Asshole Mountain. Asshole Mountain is right behind me, right over there, and I want to talk about how Asshole Mountain got its name. There's a couple of stories that I've heard over the years on how it's got its name, but presently the Baselite Company, who makes pavers and makes retaining wall bricks, they own that mountain. And they're mining it to get the materials out of it to make pavers and retaining wall bricks that we homeowners like to put in our yards to make our landscapes look good. And I want to talk about how Asshole Mountain got its name. Well, the first of the two stories that I've learned over the years on how Asshole Mountain got its name is, the first story is back in the day before Baselite started mining this mountain, that it was in the shape of that looked like a butt. And they said coming down the center of that mountain where you can see where it's dark, that dark streak came all the way down the center of the mountain. And with the shape and with the dark shadow, they said it looked like an asshole. So that's how the old timers called it, Asshole Mountain. The other story that I've heard when I first moved to this area was that Asshole Mountain got its name because of a prospector. In the center of your screen is Mount Davidson. And right at the base of Mount Davidson is Virginia City. And so the old prospector had to make his way from Virginia City to Asshole Mountain. And the prospector made his way from Asshole Mountain to Virginia City with his ore that he got from Asshole Mountain. And he would take his ore, bring it to the assay office in Virginia City, and told the worker that I would like to get this fire tested to see if I have any gold in my ore. And so the assay worker would do his job. He would do the fire testing, smelt the ore, and the prospector comes in and said, well, did I get any gold? And the assay worker said, no, you have no gold in your ore. And the prospector was determined that there was gold on his property, on his claim on Asshole Mountain. And so he said, well, I'm going to go back and find some gold. And he went back and he got his ore, brought it back to Virginia City, and brought it to the assay office and got it assayed. And the worker would tell the prospector, no, you have no gold, no trace of gold in your ore. And the assay worker said, you have nothing, you might as well give it up. But the prospector was bound and determined to prove the assay worker wrong. And he says, I'm going to prove you wrong. I am going to go to my claim and I am going to get some ore that has gold in it. So the prospector made his way back to Asshole Mountain, went to several areas and took out some samples of ore. He made his way back to Virginia City and said, here is my ore. I know I have gold in here. I'm going to prove you wrong and do what you got to do, but I'll come back and look and find if I have any gold in my ore. So the prospector left, the assay worker did his job. The prospector comes back and he said, I know you must have found gold in my ore. And the assay worker said, I told you so many times, you have no gold in your ore. And the prospector took his ore and he left. And as he left, he walked out the door. The assay worker told the other guys that were in the office, he goes, "What an asshole." So that's the story that I've heard when I first moved to this area on how Asshole Mountain got its name. Now at this time, it's up to you to believe either story number 1 or story number 2. I like story number 2. But anyhow, I believe Baselite found their gold because they are making money off Asshole Mountain for their pavers and retaining wall bricks and the other materials that Baselite makes. In these days, what I use Asshole Mountain for is a landmark, because I ride on my side-by-side a lot. My kids, my grandson ride their side-by-sides, but right back there is Como Mountain. And the Como mine used to be right on the other side of that mountain, and there's so much to do up there. You can go to the mine, you can search it, you can research it, you can prospect for gold. There's so many trails that you can follow and ride around that whole range and make your way all the way to Urington. Matter of fact, if you go farther on back, you can make it to Gardnerville and Minden. This is just such a beautiful, beautiful place. So I use Asshole Mountain as I'm traveling around to know where I'm at so I won't get lost. If you know where Asshole Mountain is, you use it as a landmark no matter what mountain range you're on. If you see Asshole Mountain, you will know exactly where you're at and you will never get lost. Matter of fact, my favorite gold miner, prospector, and geologist, Jeff Williams, was back in the mountains by Como, and he was doing a video back there, but he was on top of a hill, and in the far background, just off to the left, I could see Asshole Mountain. So I knew close the vicinity that Jeff Williams was in. So that's how I use Asshole Mountain. So whether it looks like an ass or there was an asshole prospector who never found gold, Asshole Mountain is here. That's the legend, and I like the prospector story, and I'm sticking with that one. I want to say thank you so much for being with me today in this video. If you like this video, I would encourage you to hit the like button and to share it with your friends. And if you're not a subscriber to my channel, please subscribe and support me. I would deeply appreciate it, and we'll see you on the next video.